You haven't seen me in quite some time. And the reason why is because I've been extremely busy trying to get a new haircut, and this is what I got. No, seriously, this haircut makes me look, I don't know, it makes me look like an alien who is like 50 years old. Like, seriously though. This haircut makes me look extremely old, much older than my actual age, but I can't do anything about it. Now I paid money for this haircut and I have to keep this haircut for a few months at least because I'm actually poor, can't afford another haircut. But you know, the actual reason why I wasn't present for quite some time is because I was changing my major and I finally did accomplish my major change. My major of choice was computer science, but after 1 year I realized that, like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Sorry, I'm not gonna do this. Environment is kind of not for me, and programming is not for me. So I changed it for environmental science, which I think is much better for me. But this video is not about my haircut and stuff. Actually, I finally got to watch the final episode of The Amazing Digital Circus. When it premiered, I was actually in Europe and I could go to the movie theater, but I didn't because I got scared about the audience. Like, so I preferred not to go because, well, you know what kind of people watch the show. And I just decided to wait, and I waited and watched it at home. And to be honest, it was not really a bad finale. I think a lot of people are pissed because the finale is not a lot of people expected, because a lot of people expected some kind of action horror. They expected Kane to go full I have no mouth but I must scream, and do something completely terrible, something epic. But actually it was kind of cozy, campy finale, which, not something that most people expected, including me. Didn't expect such a finale. But honestly, it was a good character-driven finale with kind of a nice conclusion. Can't say it was a fantastic finale, but I was certainly satisfied. But there is one thing that I wanted to talk about, is that these so-called Tumblr creators, as I call them, I'm not exactly sure what Tumblr creator even means. I personally call this animators who started their careers, in the early 2010s. When the Tumblr was a popular thing. Tumblr, Pinterest, I've never used those, so I don't know what these things are. But, creators like Vivziepop or like Gooseworx, what I noticed about their works is that they seem to feel absolutely allergic towards writing competent female characters, right? Like their shows might have female protagonists, but they almost never focus on female characters. It's like they don't want to write female characters. I thought it was a Vivian Medrano thing when she declares that her Has-Been Hotel is female driven, but if you watch a couple of episodes, there are way more male characters who drive the show, not female characters. But honestly, it's not just her. The Gooseworx, the creator of The Amazing Digital Circus. Do you even remember how the show started? How Pomni, the female character, a woman, was originally the main character. How the whole show kind of kicked off when she got into this digital circus. We saw this whole bizarre world, this whole digital thing through her eyes. We meet the characters as she meets other characters. She's like our eyes. We're supposed to learn about her. We're supposed to learn how she got into this digital circus, where she came from. There were many hints. She was the main character. She was the face of the show. She was the most recognizable character of the show. Got closer to the end, and in the finale she became a kind of background, like secondary character. And the whole finale is focusing on two characters, on Jax and on Kane. And when it comes to Kane actually, learns what others want to leave the digital circus, despite, even though he's created this environment that is not really terrible. Oh, he creates all these adventures and he thinks it's completely fine, and he doesn't understand why they want to leave. But then he gets to understand why, and he changes. I mean, and Jax, like the whole final episode is dedicated completely to him, to his backstory, to his emotional baggage, all that stuff. And it feels like Jax is essentially the main character of the show, even though he's obviously not. He was not supposed to be. The show started with Pomni being the main character and ended with Jax essentially being the main character, with Pomni just being a supportive character who is just there to support other characters, mostly male characters, and that's it. She's not the main character. And this question, why do these female creators, why do they feel such an aversion towards focusing their stories on women? I mean, whatever outrageous title for this video I came up with, it's probably 70%. It's not a clickbait. I probably wrote something outrageous just to attract attention, but it didn't come from nothing. Seriously, that's what I think. These female creators just don't like writing women, and to me I think it's a problem, because most of media, like books, movies, etc., everything is focused around male characters, and I thought it was kind of nice that we get this independent female creators who can focus their stories on women's stories, portray the lives of ordinary women, show what the kind of experiences women have. It was very nice, I think. But unfortunately, these creators completely fail to deliver that. Of course, they fail to deliver that. The Amazing Digital Circus is just the latest example of that. Honestly, in that regard, the show absolutely disappointed me. Sidelined the female characters, the main female character. And of course, we need to talk about the Has-Been Hotel. I'm actually currently rewatching the first season. Yeah, because, I like to rewatch the show regularly to remind myself why I even enjoy the show in the first place, because it seems kind of weird. It's one of the weirdest cases of, liking a show. On one hand, it's one of the worst written shows ever. On the other hand, I really enjoy the show and the characters. And despite Has-Been Hotel being presented as kind of female-led show, with the main character Charlie Morningstar being a woman, in the first 6 episodes, I mean essentially 75% of the show, I noticed that most characters are men. Most storylines are focused on men. I mean, Vox, Alistair, Angel Dust has the whole episode dedicated to him. Husk and his relationship with Alistair, all that stuff. Of course, Adam, and the show just does not care about female. Lucifer, of course. Don't forget about Lucifer. And what about female characters? Simply nothing. Again, they serve as some kind of prop. Even Charlie Morningstar herself just feels like a supporting prop character rather than the actual protagonist of the show. And yes, I do think the show gets kind of better in the second season, which premiered just recently, and my memory is still fresh about the second season. I think it tries to do better job. I'm not asking anything from Helluva Boss. I think this show completely gave up on writing women, and it's their choice. If the writers don't want to write women, it's their choice. Yeah, but both Has-Been and The Amazing Digital Circus were presented as female-led show about female characters, and both failed to deliver that. And I'd argue that, surprisingly, The Amazing Digital Circus failed to deliver it even harder, because the show is actually over. I just think that these female creators, they just really enjoy writing men. They enjoy exploring male psyche, and they enjoy exploring the mental and family issues that male face. I mean, most of these male characters, whether it's, I don't know, Jax or someone else, like, I don't know, Blitz from Hello Boss, they all have kind of problems with their parents, especially with their fathers. Their fathers complete outrageous dicks. In Jax's case, both of his parents are dicks, both his mom and his dad. So this female creators just like exploring men, I think, and again, it's their choice, and I think they can do whatever they want. I mean, they got free will; they can write about anything they want. It's just, for me, I feel very disappointed and even deceived, since the show were explicitly promoted as female-led shows. I mean, that's just my wish that the shows were more about women, because honestly, we don't get much of that in media. In media we don't really get much women about women. I don't know. Women are still absolutely completely underrepresented. They're just mostly a couple of archetypes that the mainstream media tries to push. The mainstream media, like Disney, if you noticed, Disney keeps creating the same archetype of a character and refuses to change. So I thought the independent kind of space would be better for that, but unfortunately independent media just fails to. I think the whole media just kind of fails of representing female characters, and I just don't know what else to say. Okay, share your thoughts. What do you think about this whole situation, and what do you think about the final episode? And hopefully I'll see you again if I don't die, which is not a guarantee that I don't die, of course.